Wow, that was aggressive. Aggro paper throw. Watch out, she's gonna rage quit paper folding? Hi, my name is Pam and I like to fold paper. Here I am, folding around 40 sheets of paper in half. Nothing special. Here I am making it look fancy, like I just won the Paper Folding Award of the Year. In case you're wondering, I'm making a book. So now I'm taking the folded paper and stacking 5 sheets together to make signatures. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? That's because it is. Look how carefully I do that. Someone's a closet perfectionist. Okay, so now I'm cutting an 8.5 by 11 sheet of chipboard in half. These will be the base for the front and back covers of the book. They're so innocent at this stage. Right now you're watching me make a template. It's super easy, I just put a mark in the center and then add 1-inch intervals away from that center mark. And now I'm using the template clamped to my stack of signatures to mark a line across all of the signatures where each of those marks are on the template. And now I'm trying to be fancy with my camera angle, which just means I can't see what I'm doing. And yes, my shirt says whiskey. Sunshine and whiskey. I probably could have used some. Ooh, here's the fun part. There's something cathartic about punching holes in things. Anyway, I'm poking a hole where the marks are on each signature. I couldn't decide which binding I wanted to use or that would be correct, so I used a Coptic stitch binding but had to alter it slightly because I wasn't stitching to a cover to begin. Anyway, you'll need about the width of your book times as many signatures you have in thread. I used a curved needle. Starting on the inside of the first signature, I sewed through each hole. Then added a new signature and began Coptic stitch binding. I joined the first signature to the second by sewing under the outside thread of the first signature and back into the second signature. The rest of the binding was regular Coptic stitch. I'll link a better tutorial in the cards for you. Besides, you and I both know you're not here to watch me sew. You clicked on this video because of the fancy cover. Oh yes, you did. This is the part where you slather white glue all over the spine to hold everything together. I also glued a piece of cotton to the spine. This will be used to help attach the cover to the text block and will make more sense later, I promise. And yes, I don't have a proper book press, so I use a brick, aptly named Brick. Wow, more aggressive throwing. It's as if I think you like to watch that or something. This is some outdoor vinyl that I bought on a recent field trip to the craft store. At least I think it's vinyl. Here I am roughly measuring how much I need and cutting a piece off. Now I'm cutting a piece of chipboard to play the part of the spine in this series. We don't want our book to be spineless, like internet trolls. This part gets a little bit finicky, but don't panic. Locate your towel, or a ruler, preferably one with a good straight edge. Leave about 1 inch of fabric around the outer edge, and space the cover boards 1/4 inch plus the width of the chipboard away from the spine. I mark the fabric as a guide. Now carefully glue everything down. Pro tip, use the ruler to keep the bottom edge lined up. I then smoothed out the opposite side with a bone folder, and then I left it to dry for a while. Do not follow how I trim the corners here. I'm certain there is a better way to do this when working with vinyl. If you're using paper, this way works fine. Anyway, trim the corners and glue down the edges. P.S. Baby wipes are great to clean up messes on your project. but also your hands when they inevitably get covered in glue. Unless you like that, of course. Nothing better than picking dry glue off your hands. I cut some black cardstock to act as end sheets. Glue an edge to the text block and then the cotton fabric to the other side. See, you thought I forgot to show you what that was for. Finally, glue the end sheets to the inside covers. Make sure to place wax paper inside the covers until they dry, or else all your pages will be stuck together. Then stack something heavy on top and allow the book to dry. And now for the part you've all been waiting for, the embellishment! For Loki's Helm, I perused the internets until I found an image I liked. Then I popped it into my Cricut program and created a cut file. I used a strong grip mat after a failed first attempt and the deep cut blade, which I think is dull because it still didn't cut all the way through. Crafter's problems.
You guys are cute.
It was an easy fix though. Once the foam was peeled off the mat, I used my trusty craft knife and simply cut through the remaining layer. While I cut out 2 helms, I only used one of them. I borrowed some thermoplastic, aka Worbla, from the husband and cut off only what I needed. This stuff is like gold and I didn't want to waste it. I used a heat gun to heat up the thermoplastic. Once it's warmed up and flat, this stuff has the consistency of a space-age fabric and at times also felt like weird styrofoam. It's very strange. This was my first time using this magic plastic, so I took my time covering my foam helm and molding it into all the nooks and crannies, or crooks and nannies. I made multiple passes with the heat gun until I was satisfied with my work. Then I used another small piece to cover the back of the foam. Thermoplastic sticks to wood and the heat gun melts your craft mats, so place some wax paper or baking paper over a heat-resistant surface when melting thermoplastic. Once I was fully satisfied with the appearance, I cut out the helm first with my not-so-trusty craft knife, then scissors, and finally with a better knife. Don't forget that it's important to also level up your tools when you level up your skills. When the helm was finally cut free of its imprisonment, I used the heat gun and my bone folder again to close the seams between the front and back pieces. And the perfectionist in me wasn't satisfied until I spent what seemed like hours getting it just right. Spoilers, she wasn't completely satisfied. Giving into time constraints and my tired eyes, I primed the helm and left it to dry. Then I coated the whole thing in gold acrylic paint until it looked like it actually cost as much as the thermoplastic it was made from. And I sprayed a little poly over it too. And finally I used the strongest glue I had because I had no idea what to use to solidly adhere thermoplastic to vinyl. One day I will learn the lesson that more is not more when using substances like glue. But not today. And there you have it, friends, one Loki-themed case-bound notebook. I'm pretty happy with how this project turned out, yet humble enough to admit that I have a lot yet to learn. Before you go, you could do me a favor and smash that like button, or gently tap it if you're the less aggressive type. My name is Pam, this has been Total Pamarchy, the craft channel with a little anarchy. Until next time.